Okay, so this is my attempt to show people what we are looking to do at Applegarth with this next phase. Easiest route is for people to see it remotely, so it's on YouTube and you can have a look at it in your own free time. So moving through this relatively quickly, we have a new car park area. It's going to be formatted to a point just before we put tarmac down, simply due to the fact that we will have large traffic moving over it over the next 2 years, and it would be a rather large waste to bring it to tarmac level before then. So it will be smooth as, but it probably won't have tarmac on it. So then to the side we have a 2.1 meter hoarding wall with a 65 meter banner running all the way down it, of which we will show lovely pictures of food, what we currently do, our suppliers, our range of thoughts with it, and it will obscure what is literally the other side of it, which is a very large building site. So planted up it we have lovely silver birch trees, and we also, well, I took them away at the top end, but here we have some apple trees, which I think I'm going to look at the idea of getting some of those trained apple trees up against the fence line, so that in a couple of years they'll look absolutely lovely, running all the way down the length. So to the left we have very little difference. There's this is the back of the toilet block, where we, at the moment, have a horrible view of a load of air conditioning units, so we need to section that off. Then moving further forward, and this is new, we are looking at the consideration of running the roadway all the way up and through to the back of the barn, to basically alleviate the problem we have with not being able to access the west of the site at all if we leave the existing roadway in place. So coming up this way there will be the odd bit of commercial traffic, so delivery vehicles, but they won't be particularly heavy, and they can be sectioned to come at specific times in the day so as not to cause major disruption. There's the consideration of moving the bottle bank to the top up here. Waiting to hear whether EHDC want to completely remove the bottle bank, which is in the Carla area at the moment, but I like the idea of keeping it there. It sits with our credential of recycling. On the top of the barn there is a 60 kHp solar panel array, which will produce around about 50% of the electrical needs for the site. And then going through to the right we would have the car parking for the staff, and we would then breach through and have the delivery either in its existing location, although there is also a door around about here which could be used. There is roller doors here which are the existing routes in. So moving into the children's play area, we need to do something that's a little bit for a single year, to be honest with you. So the idea being that as we all of a sudden have a load of horses, and I apologise about the micro pony, but it made me a titter, stable block for maybe one small little pony for the kids to come and play at. Easy, low maintenance, and acts as an attraction for them. Then here, so this is the first benefit of not having this roadway that comes up and round, we can start breaching into this field. We can put some raised beds in place that are fed by the polytunnel, and we can get the chefs coming out here on a regular basis. They're very keen to be involved with this, producing a load of fruit and veg, setting us up for moving more heavily into that next year. So then we have the side of the shop at the moment, where at the moment there is nowhere for anyone to sit. I'm looking at the idea, as long as it's not too expensive financially, to put some decking area in here and some tables and chairs for the mums and the kids, because at the moment it's just complete chaos. I think with this what we'll do is we'll sand it down, or at least paint it a nice kind of shabby green colour or something to give it one more year of life. Moving through into this area, we now have the decking area. At the moment, it seems to be missing its roof, but anyway, it currently has a roof that is not fit for purpose. We need to replace this. We need to then also, in my mind, I want to put a wall up that basically it's simply a sound barrier to stop any noise from or lessen the noise from the building coming to people having lunch here. Then we have so subsequently a speaker in place, a little bar area here. It's very similar to how it is at the moment, but it is tarted up and made to look more attractive. Coming down to the bottom cabin, this is now going to be a lovely cookery school with 3 to 4 lessons on a weekly basis. We've got some good plans with that. So that's down there. Will be nicely branded up. Will be a completely separate unit as such. I don't mean separate unit, but it will have its own new attractive branding that can be seen from people sitting up on the decking. And then the pergola will have a big table in there, so when people are having a lesson, they can come out and then have lunch halfway through. So then moving around, we have. I'm toying with the idea of putting a one-way gate in here, because we have a serious problem with people coming in and seating themselves in this area, and therefore the the front of house staff don't know they're sitting. They then wander in, get served. It just is not appropriate, really. The whole place should be full service, and therefore, if we were to make it so that you could only leave through this entrance, everyone coming into the building would have to come in through here and come in through the retail environment, so potentially buying things, and then down through the decking. So then coming into this front area needs to be cleaned up. We need to get the floor more fit for purpose. At the moment it's quite like it in the fact that it's concrete and a little bit rustic looking, but on the other hand it's very dusty, and we need to do something about that. Removing this horrendous white freezer and putting a display of flowers from Francesca. She's keen on taking this area. We've had conversations. Then put a lovely shelf of fresh herbs along here so that we can do promotions such as, create your own pesto, all that kind of stuff. Would sit really nicely. Then moving across, we would have a new lighting system in place to make this area much more attractive, a Philips hue that you can change the colours depending upon the time of day, so you could make it so that during the evenings you could almost change the colour. I don't mean garishly, but you could do some pretty cool things, especially with the idea that actually I want to look at the idea of putting frosting along the glass windows, because it will reduce the glare into this area, therefore by apparently about 40%, therefore reducing the heat in the area for the fruit and veg. Want to ramp up the fruit and veg so it's absolutely brimming all the time. It needs to be consistently looking stunning, like you were in an amazing market in Italy, all the time. Then, and subsequently, the idea of them buying, because they're actually not too expensive, an air conditioning unit that sits in here and keeps this area specifically cooler than everywhere else. So, coming into the shop, so where are we at? So, to the right-hand side, we have the cash till as it is at the moment. Can't remove that due to the fruit and veg requirement for weighing, but we need to clean it up, make it look attractive, minimalist, reduce all the clutter from it. Want to remove one of these upright fridges. They are not paying for themselves at the moment. The cheese one does, but the other one is a complete waste of electricity. It's not generating enough sales, and I think keeping just one there, keeping it looking amazing with cut cheese, but I mean having the wheels of cheese with then cut pieces around it, and just making it look really full on and properly full all the time. Replacing the fridge that we're taking out with more shelving, therefore putting more stock in it. And coming through here, this one's a tricky one. The cabin at the moment is not, it's nowhere near making enough money to justify its existence. Its revenue for the area that it takes is just ridiculous. It turned over 16,000 all last year. It's just not good enough. So, with the idea that we are constantly turning people away, the initial thought was potentially to put some additional seating in here so that people could come and sit in here rather than having to go home with a tail between their legs. Now, I really like that idea, but we are moving into the summer period, and therefore it won't be used anywhere near as much. So I think what we might try and do is rip out all of the stock in there that is not solely food related, and then put in cookery goods. So work in conjunction with the cookery school, you could start upselling a whole range of products that they would be doing in there. Things like pasta making machines, knives, things that people have learnt the skill would then want to buy. So and just do some really interesting, innovative, new types of cooking equipment that you can't find anywhere else. So coming back in here then, we have the cake bar. The cake bar needs to be consistently full. It needs to be looking considerably better than it does at the moment. It needs to have a range of cakes on there, but I'm wondering whether we could also put a decent bread offering with it as well. But whatever the situation, it needs some work. Then we have here, actually let's look at this whole thing. So, new delicatessen facility. We have the idea on the left hand side here, we have a range of foods that you would want to buy, to take away, to have for your dinner. Quite simple. With a range of salads going in this one here. So, the customer eats lunch, they walk out, they come up to this, they go, oh, I could really do with that for dinner tonight. And then next to it, you have a lovely selection of fresh cakes to not only complement that consideration, but also to then take into the restaurant and eat. At the moment, all we do is about 3 different types of sponge cake and a load of other bought-in cakes. We need to seriously up the ante. Whether that involves bringing in a patisserie chef or whether we can do that ourselves, to be discussed. But it would sit very nicely alongside the these types of cakes. It would work very well, we feel. Then here is very much, it's just a frozen area. So, and then this is different. We have a paying area in between the patisserie counter, sorry, the deli counters. At the moment, I would suggest, as do the staff in the shop, feel that about 70% of the people that come to purchase something walk up to the delicatessen counter expecting to pay for it there. And all of a sudden they have to then turn around and walk over here. That means you have to pull a member of staff away from this area, therefore increasing the staffing wage bill by a considerable amount. We feel that having a tight counter here where you could transact a relatively small number of goods, but perhaps stuff that's come off the counter or a few products that you've taken off the shelves, with this lady here, makes perfect sense. So that would be built in between. Then behind her we have a new concept. This is working on the idea of the current trend, and I can't see that reducing, the idea of trying to sell products with no plastic packaging. So these jars all contain things like a barrack of rice, pickles, things that you would want to take home with you that perhaps would fit perfectly with a meal consideration that is put together by the chef. So it may be, as I say, it may be you're going to make up an arborio, I'm in the wrong game, an arborio rice, and so you could do a paella or something like that using these products, using this product. It could all fit in amongst itself. and creates some nice meal offerings, but also acts as an attractive backdrop, where at the moment it's not attractive really at all. So, but as I say, it's really going on the idea of the of reducing our plastic and being able to really harp on about that on a marketing level. Removing out, I take out both of these. Well, I've just said that about the shelving, but I'd actually remove this and turn this into one large open plan kitchen area, but that's not going to work. There's structural beams that I can't do that with. So taking out the central unit, putting the making this all as one as part of the overall kitchen offering. So it basically has a chef in here all the time producing all of these foods to then sell out, either for a deli plate or to take away, preferably actually to take away. So with that, we shut this door up and we create a serving hatch so that when an individual order comes through, and that order involves 3 plates of deli salads, the plates can be put together by the chef here, turn round, he puts it on here, then the chefs in the background in the main kitchen will pick it up and put it on a new serving hatch, which I'll show you in a second. So just very quickly though, moving back to this area here, rather than the triple tier thing, we clean that area up so that you can see cleanly the products behind. We make it so it's not cluttered, it's clean and organised, and we put all of the olives and a load of antipasti on this table here with a nice, I don't know whether marble top's the right word, but making it look really clean and putting that all there. Products on the walls. So there are 3 considerations with the with how we choose products from now on. Firstly, those products, the first choice would be that those products will sit nicely with the food that is being produced on here. So mayonnaises, a olive oil, things that you would use, actually olive oil is not right, but things that would go with a meal consideration. Secondly, having products sourced within a 50-mile radius of Applegarth, going along with the whole localized sourcing, Brexit-y type of vibe. Then have images of those suppliers with their products next to the lines of the thing. Now we would try and select things that with these suppliers that sat under that first consideration, because that's the driver. We need these products to turn over fast. We need to be finding products that are going to shift, and I think less products, tighter, but more of them in the background to sell, rather than such a massive array of kind of random products, is more appropriate. Then a nice wine offering. I'm walking out of Applegarth, I look to my right, I see a lovely bottle of wine for £6.95. I don't mean British, I just mean a damn good bottle of wine. I go, ooh, I'd like that tonight, and I'll buy it. And then here we do a little selection of really good wines. I've been asked by a number of people, the foodies that used to come into the shop and others locally, who would love to find a selection of really quite high-end wines, ones that they would expect to pay a large amount of money for, but we offer them as a bit of a loss leader. So we drag those people in who know they're going to get a damn good deal on a bottle of really good French wine, and then they come in and buy a whole load of other produce for the weekend. So it's but it's a selection again to sit under the concept of buying foods to take away to eat immediately, not foods that are going to be put into a cupboard and bought out once in a while and eventually thrown away. It's all about turnover. So, and then this little section here, this section sits perfectly with the idea of the chef or the server there going, yep, we've got this lovely selection of deli goods, or Applegarth heroes. Actually, sorry, Applegarth heroes are these guys. This is like deli stuff, so things that you'd absolutely expect if you came into a deli. Olive oils, balsamics, mayonnaises, all those types of things, and good ones, good brands, would sit in that area. So it's a new consideration on how we buy the stock under 3 separate headings. So then coming through here, we have a new area for meet and greet. So we take the doors off this, we create the whole thing as one entity. It sits so that everything flows into one, and the meet and greet person is as you walk in, rather than you walk in and you sort of stand here completely confused as to what you're supposed to do. There is someone here to meet you and greet you all the time and take you to your table, not point at the table and say, it's over there, mate. It is a proper meet and greet. Now, this over here, so this is a serving hatch under hot lights. So at the moment we have serious problems with the inability to serve large tables in one foul swoop. The hot pass we have at the moment can only accommodate about 4 plates, and that means that the chefs cannot crack out food quickly, and they can't crack out big tables as one. It has to come in individual amounts. So this is a new consideration. It's a 1.6 meter pass that allows the chef to produce a whole range of stuff. He will put shelving along this area. I know it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, but shelving, another shelf that sort of comes out here, so the food can come out to here if it's cold and sit there. But the hot one sits under hot lights. It's 2-tiered, so there's this tier and then another tier that comes along here. Hot lights on both of them means that the chef is constantly talking to front of house who are out here. And here we have shelves where knives and things like that can go, and there's a fridge underneath it where butters and things like that would go to be kept cold. But essentially it's a completely new concept in terms of the overall flow of the restaurant. So then food comes in and round and through into the different locations. We are looking at the idea then of nothing else changes except for this door gets shut up. Now, as much as we have tried very hard and done some about as good as we could have done really in what we've got, in putting some curtains up and whatever, it still looks minging, and it just really and also just in terms of the flow, there's you're bringing dirty plates in and then someone else is coming out with fresh plates. It's not good, and therefore what this is a hatch. So dirties come along, they get taken to here, they get put on this table, which increases the amount of space in this area. We put 2 sinks in here as opposed to 1, which as in a double sink, which makes it a lot easier for them cleaning up. It stops the front of house walking into the kitchen and standing around talking to the kitchen staff. It creates a far superior working environment, and speeds all processes up. Then, where are we? So there's nothing new about around here. We need to get some sort the chairs and tables out. We need to sort some of the walls out a little bit in terms of decoration, but not a huge amount. Then coming through here, we need new patio doors because those are falling off. I think actually I've been out here. No, I'm talking too much. Anyway, oh wow, 25 minutes in, and I'm pretty sure that is everything in terms of the overall flow. Thanks very much for listening.